On behalf of Leftward Books, we welcome you to this conversation between Nehal Ahmed and Komita Dhanda. Like most of you know, Leftward Books is an independent publishing house located in Shadipur, New Delhi. And we are delighted to share with you that Nehal's first book and a Leftward publication, Nothing Will Be Forgotten, has received the prestigious Muzaffar Ahmed Memorial Award for 2022. Nehal Ahmed is our author, and he's a doctoral student at the Academy of International Studies, Jamia Millia Islamia. And his research interests consist of Indian and world cinema, as well as migration studies. Komita, a dear friend and comrade, has been working as an actor, director, writer, and organizer with Jan Natya Manch, a Delhi-based street theatre group. Komita has also studied in Jamia, and she's also taught at the Lady Irwin College, University of Delhi. And currently, she's pursuing her PhD research in theatre and performance studies at the School of Art and Aesthetics, Jawaharlal Nehru University. Welcome, guys. And now over to you, Komita.
Thank you. Thank you, Vinny, and thank you, Leftward, for giving me this opportunity to talk to Nehal about his book. The book has a very special connection with me also because it foregrounded how I looked at Jamia when I was a student several years ago, and since 2019, how, or in fact before that, as Nehal also mentions in the book, has changed. Responding to the current times. So I'm very glad and I'm very delighted, excited to have this short conversation with Nehal. As Vinny also said, that the book Nothing Will Be Forgotten is published by Leftward Books, and this is Nehal's first book, that which is a kind of a first-person account of the students' protests that took place in Jamia Millia Islamia in 2019 against the Citizenship Amendment Act. And it has won this prestigious award as well. So Nehal, I'm actually going to keep it in a more conversational manner. I have read the book and it's quite inspiring in several ways. So, you know, I was thinking when I was reading the book that when the protests emerged in Jamia, you know, there were several viral videos. There were many people who were writing articles. Articles we saw in media, mainstream media, alternative media. Activists were writing about it. Experts were writing about it. That what was going on in the university. So to begin with, can you please, you know, like tell us, our audience, that what was the impulse behind writing your own experience, being part of those protests, and, you know, later transforming it into a book. So was it like a catharsis for you at that time, or, you know, why did you think that you need to put it in black and white, what you were going through and other students were going through?
First of all, I would like to thank everyone, Leftward, Komita, Vinny, Prabhasha, for having me here. And I think the question you asked, I think you answered also, that why I wrote this book. So basically, two major things which I believe, and that's why I wrote the book. Of course, one is catharsis, that I am a kind of not a very active person who was not on the front stage. I was a kind of observer there, and I'm a very good observer since, like, everywhere, not in political situation, in every situation. So I was observing things, and I was part of that. I was seeing and sometimes participating also. But when I saw all those news clips, all those media houses, all those the coloring, basically coloring Jamia into a very bad light, somewhere I felt like, no, I should write it. And I saw many books were coming that time, and nobody's from Jamia, those who wrote that book. So there was an urge in me that I should write what is the fact I have seen. I'm not going to tell you the right and wrong, or this side or that side, but I'll write what I have seen. That was the first thing I got. Though I was not having any idea of writing, I was not having any confidence of writing, not any good experience of writing. But that urge made me write. Second thing was catharsis. When I saw things were going into very bad way, and a very pity situation was very pitiful, and somewhere that was haunting me, and I felt like to pour it out, because as I said, I was not confident enough to write a book. I might be able to write a small article or something about what I feel, but that feeling, that awfulness in me when I saw my university in that situation, I felt like just to pour it out also, because that was COVID time. We were all stuck at home. So I think both the things were very true. The reason behind my writing.
तो मैं ये सोच रही थी आपकी बात सुन के कि तो आपको कितना वक्त लगा इस किताब को लिखने में, और जब आप लिख रहे थे तो ऑब्वियसली 2020 में कोविड आ गया था, और जब आपने लिखना शुरू किया होगा तब तक कुछ मेमोरीज होंगी जो बहुत डिस्टिंक्टिवली आपके जहन में रही होंगी, but some memories also, memories tend to fade also. So when you were actually, because I see in your book that you are describing each event date by date, sometimes even time of the day, sometimes that who was there, who was the policeman, who was the student. Although you have changed, you write also in the end that for their safety you have also changed the names. But so how did you kind of come to writing such a precise account, what you have seen, as you are saying, and how long did it take you to first reach the decision that I have to write, and then you started writing it?
So basically, my friend used to call me that I have an elephant memory. So मुझे बहुत minute detail याद रहता है. मुझे even के कपड़े का color तक मैं याद, like I have that photographic like memory कि मैं उसको याद करके रख लेता हूँ. So I was having that confidence because of that also, because I keep telling people. For example, I travel a lot. So when I come back, when I tell people, okay, I went there, this happened, that happened. So people got impressed, okay, you remember everything. So that was the thing which I have. I think that is my one quality for such writing, because such writing need that memory. So I think my memory didn't fade out by that time, because I started writing, I think in March, the moment lockdown announced, I was home and I started writing. And I think I wrote in 3 months only. Like in whole night, I used to wake up and type it out. So in 3 months, I finished it. And the whole idea of writing, because as I said, I never had any experience of writing such as fiction, non-fiction. Even I cannot have that very clear distinction of all the genres. So I just went and I in a way pour it out what I have seen through my eyes. That's it. So I did not use any technique. Like many people, like when I was talking to my friend, many people were telling me, use this technique, read that book, read those books, read this report, take it out this event and deadlines. I said, no, I don't want. I will just write whatever I have seen. So people even told me that nobody will entertain you, nobody will publish you, because it's you are not, who are you that you are telling things, like you are not some big shot person. So I said, if nobody will publish, I'll read by myself, I'll keep it for myself. So I think that was the whole idea of writing such piece. And I think when I followed this pattern, later people told me, okay, this is your writing style, this is your genre. So when I started this, I was not having any idea. Later my teacher told me it's a testimonial writing. So I was just writing what I believe, what I have seen, or in a way, as I said, I was doing catharsis. I was just pouring it down to relieve myself. And then this come out.
So were you worried a little bit about when it will be published, and when Leftward said that, okay, we'll publish it? And Leftward is known for publishing these things. Fortunately, we do have a publication house like that. Were you worried about that there will be a backlash from definitely from the fringes of the right wing or the right wing, but also from other eyewitnesses? As your friends were saying that this could be your memory and not other people's memory. Were you a little worried about those things?
Yeah, of course, I was worried, and luckily, nothing like post book. I didn't get anything like that. And two things I was worried, like some fringe group might come and say that, well, this is right and wrong or whatever. And that was very much expected, and I was not worried at all for that. I was clearly waiting, but that couldn't happen, luckily. Second thing, like someone might contest my memory that, okay, you have seen this, and but this is not my memory. And yeah, people ask me that you didn't mention this thing, you didn't mention that thing. So I keep telling that this book is me in that protest, not about completely about that protest. So whatever I'm seeing, wherever I'm going, I did that. And to answer that, like to contest the memory of people, yeah, of course, it is a kind of people might not agree with my memory because they have seen something very different, and I have encountered with something very different. Like even when I was doing the editing part, my friend was sitting with me. So even he does not agree with me. He said, no, I haven't seen this, and I didn't feel that. So I completely agree that it is my memory, and it might be different from other people. Lots of people disagree with me. Lots of people I heard that they keep saying that, okay, this is not the very right narrative or right presentation of the whole event. So I think this is very healthy for me that people disagree to my work. And I always encourage that if you feel that this is not the right thing or not right representation, so I agree that there might be mistakes, or there are mistakes. There's not a question of might, but I also want people to write that if you feel that this narrative is not proper, so one should come out and write it something else. So it would be great. It would become rich in the sense of literature and then the narrative and the history of this movement.
So, Nehal, like many people who were critical of the protests, and they were claiming that, these protests are held only by the Muslims in the community, and, but we know that that was not true. There were many people from outside the Muslim community, outside Jamia, as you are also mentioning, and we have witnessed it ourselves also. Going to these protest sites, people were coming to perform, they held langars and, helping in whichever manner, and they were, not all of them were from the Muslim community. So these were the narratives which were floated by the mainstream media and the right wing, basically with the idea that they wanted to polarize the citizens of Delhi, कि देखिए आपके लिए सड़क बंद हो गई है, ये हो गया है, एम्बुलेंस रुक गया है, उस तरह की चीजें. And who are doing this? Quote unquote Muslims are doing this. So in the context of your book, how do you sort of differentiate these protests as act of politicization versus the act of polarization? How do you kind of see these two things in the context of what you are writing?
I think this situation, the question you ask is can't be fit into black and white, because both the things were there. There was a polarization also, and mainstream media and the things which is in the discourse, basically the people who are in the discourse, the powerful discourse, was heavily trying to polarize this, and still they are telling. And even many of people, when I travel, I meet, and they ask that I'm from the university, and they keep saying, okay, this problem, that problem. So that polarization was there, and it's still there. But as you asked, the other factor of the protest, that people were coming together, and many, like because it's of course lead by Muslims. Majority of the people are Muslim, because it's a Muslim issue and all. but there are other people also, other community people are also, and I don't think so any protest, any movement will be such vibrant with a singular community or one type of people, or one from people from one community or one caste. So I think the involvement of the students, the involvement of the graffiti maker, the involvement of the person who is the electrician, because there was one electrician also. So one cannot restrict, and it's not possible even to imagine such huge movement with people of certain community or a particular singular community. So I like completely disagree, and there were people from every community, and they were basically, I have seen a person who was holding a Bible. So I asked him, why you're holding a Bible? You can come without Bible also, that if you're showing the solidarity. So he said, no, I wanted to assert my identity, that what I am and why I'm here. So such things were there. The langars were there. The farmers came there and they stayed there for a few days. So I think it was, polarization was there. And I think that is the power of that protest, that despite being polarized so much by mainstream media, this plurality helped to sustain, this plurality helped to grow.
तो एक जो सवाल मेरे जहन में बार बार आ रहा था, वो और आता है, मतलब ऐसा नहीं है कि सिर्फ किताब के जरिए ही, लेकिन ये कि आप लिख रहे हैं अपनी किताब में कि 2019 के इस प्रोटेस्ट से पहले पैलेस्टाइन और इजराइल को लेकर भी जो है वो जामिया में प्रोटेस्ट हुए थे. इनफैक्ट दैट वाज काइंड ऑफ द बिगिनिंग ऑफ politicization of the students community. And I was remembering that when I was in Jamia some 15-17 years ago, we used to talk among ourselves and with some of our teachers that politics कुछ होता नहीं था जामिया में, students politics, क्योंकि elections नहीं होते थे, students organizations active नहीं थी, कुछ नहीं था. और अब हमें दिखता है पिछले 4-5 साल से कि एक उसके अंदर एक नई एनर्जी जो है वो आई है. तो और ये ऐसे प्रोटेस्ट रहे हैं, चाहे एंटी सीए प्रोटेस्ट हो, चाहे पैलेस्टीन इजराइल के मुद्दे के ऊपर प्रोटेस्ट किया हो जामिया स्टूडेंट्स ने, which are not directly students' own demands. It's not a demand like a hostel, it's not a demand which is directly concerns the student community. So what, according to you, is the importance of students' movement in the larger fight for democracy and people's rights?
I think India have seen, in fact, Jamia is part of a movement. The birth of Jamia is part of national movement.
Yes, yeah. You mention it in your book also. Yeah.
Yeah, because Aligarh was majorly supported by British, and then Gandhiji have this idea that there should be a university which shouldn't be part of that. Like students shouldn't be part of that institution. So we should have our own institution. So basically, Jamia started in Aligarh only initially. Later, it got shifted to Delhi.
Yes.
So I think student is one community. I think they have when they reach to university, first thing which I believe that they have time, and because they don't have to do the 9-to-5 job after, and there is a sensitization when you come to university. There is some sort of sensitization, and you realize that this is the wrong, and after realizing that, you have a time to do something for that. You have the time to like change something, and that stage you believe that you can change, because you have things around you which have kind of support, kind of organizational support, kind of a structure. So I think student community is the community which always many of the movement, they come forward and they participate across globe. And I believe that it's not about movement, it's not about political party or I think every person should have that intuition that if something is going odd or if something is not right, one should speak for it. So I think that need is very much there in our society, regardless of caste, gender, religion, and race. So I think, but student community is kind of organized, that you need a platform also. So I think that is why it's very important that student community come out, and because an individual also wanted to do, but without platform, sometimes it doesn't work. So in that sense, I think it should be there. Students should come out, and they talk things, or basically they negotiate more in organized manner than others. So I think that should be there.
I mean, it for me, when I was reading the book, it has two very distinctive parts, and those parts are actually not divided into two parts, but they are intermingled. So they are interspersed with each other. So on one hand, your book tells us the story, which are really gut-wrenching narratives about those dreadful nights in December 2019, what happened in Jamia and what was happening. And how Shaheen Bagh became the site of protest and a symbol of protest, and then the whole Delhi was kind of protesting, uh, and the attack on the students' community. But while we are, as a reader, I was engaged with those narratives, that what actually happened. I also, as a reader, came across poetry of Sahir, Pash, Makhdoom, and even somebody like John Elia, and all your chapters begin with these poems. So we see actually two juxtaposed images, for example, of this protest, which was political but also cultural. The image of the library. So one image of the library is where police is attacking the students or asking them forcefully to march outside the library. And on the other side, we see Savitribai Phule and Fatima Sheikh library, which was set up at Shaheen Bagh. So in a way, your book tries to capture this language of protest, which was political and cultural. So could you also, how do you see the impact of this changing language of protest in the coming, in the coming days, but also in the current times in the context of your book?
As I said, that students are more organized than any other group, and I think they have that platform. For example, we have a student of fine arts also. We have a student of architecture also. So we have resources. Students have resources basically, and that political culture is there. That political language was there somewhere. Whether it is any form of protest, whether it's in JNU, whether it is in Kerala, and in Jadavpur University. So that political culture we have seen, and students know that, and especially after social media. And you are also studying all those things: how to shoot a film in mass comm, how to make a graffiti in fine arts department. So when we got that space, when students got that space to protest, so usually what people do in protest, that they do the stage, they give the lecture, they talk about right and wrong and all. But when students were there, their creativity is there, so they come out, and because this protest was not something organized, not led by some set of people. So everybody was free to do whatever they want, or contribute, or not to participate, or to study. Many people were just studying in the library. They were not, they don't have anything about it. So when students come out, they started contributing in whatever ways they want. And so some people come out and do so whatever they know, they started doing. For example, graffiti making, singing, dancing, theater performance, a kind of concert, and many things were there. So I think this change of political culture is because of I think media is one of the very important things. And I think this political culture, which Jamia or the students of Jamia has been popularized, is very important, because it has been followed after, because it was there. All this culture was there, but it was restricted to some place, some university, some city, something like that. But what Jamia did, Jamia brought it out on the road. Jamia, the students of Jamia brought it out on the road, and in a way they make it public that anybody can use it, anybody. So I think before that, I haven't seen anywhere that people are writing their demand on the wall. And they were writing, but with such beautiful poetry, with such beautiful graffitis, such beautiful portrait. So I think that was a kind of contribution I can say that Jamia did. And later it was followed in Farmers March also, and all these slogans and songs which has been used, and many songs resurfaced also, that which was written 50 years, 60 years back. So I think this political culture will flourish, I guess, because it one more thing is very important, that it gives like people opportunity to participate, because on stage there's only one person who's speaking, the rest are not participating, they're just standing, listening, and kind of boring. And especially for such long protests that you can't listen, how much you listen, same thing will be repeated. So people need to participate, and I think that is the power of that protest, that there was a space for people to participate. So I think that is very important.
I'm also very, that's actually a question that I'm very interested and curious about personally. You mentioned in your book quite a few times about your grandfather and, you know, the conversations, or you mentioned your family more than once in the book, and the kind of atmosphere you had. और ये भी हुआ कि जामिया के अंदर जब हमने देखा कि महिलाएं सड़क पे उतर के आईं, और जैसा आपने भी कहा, और हम जानते हैं कि वो एक कम्युनिटी उसको लीड कर रही थी, लेकिन अलग अलग तरह की महिलाएं, और ऐसी महिलाएं जो कभी अपने घरों से बाहर नहीं निकली थी, वो सड़क के ऊपर बैठी हुई थी, अपने बच्चों के साथ भी बैठी हुई थी, और रात रात भर वो लोग वहाँ पे बैठे रहते थे। तो हम अक्सर बात करते थे, हम दोस्त और आपस में, कि ये महिलाएं, जब ये प्रोटेस्ट जब भी खत्म होगा, उस समय तो पता नहीं था कब खत्म होगा, लेकिन जब भी ये प्रोटेस्ट खत्म होगा और जब ये महिलाएं घर के में वापस जाएंगी, तो जो इनके फैमिली रिलेशनशिप्स हैं वो वैसे नहीं रहेंगे, क्योंकि ये अब दहलीज के बाहर कदम रख चुकी हैं। इनको मालूम है कि ये संभव है, और एक अपने से आउटसाइड जो कंसर्न्स हैं उसको लेके इन्होंने कदम रखा है। तो मैं ये जानना चाह रही थी कि यू नो, हाउ डिड women in your family, because you mention your family more than once in the book, उन लोगों का क्या रिएक्शन था इन प्रोटेस्ट को देखकर? क्या बातें होती थी उनसे? किस तरह के कॉन्वर्सेशंस होते थे महिलाओं के बीच में, आपके परिवार के अंदर, इमीडिएट फैमिली में? अगर आप थोड़ा बताएं तो।
एक जो चीज हुई, कोविड ने बहुत कुछ ब्रेक किया। वो जो एक मोमेंटम था, एक पॉलिटिसाइजेशन था, एक अंडरस्टैंडिंग थी, कोविड की वजह से वो ब्रेक हुआ। फिर लोग ये चीज में बात करने लगे कि हम बचेंगे कि नहीं बचेंगे, हम उनसे दोबारा मिलेंगे कि नहीं मिलेंगे। बट जो एक शुरू में लोगों को पता नहीं था, मेरी फैमिली हो या मतलब मैं एक लोअर मिडिल क्लास फैमिली से आता हूँ, या मेरे रिलेटिव्स हों जो दूसरे शहरों में भी थे, वो भी मुझे पूछते थे, क्योंकि जामिया वाज द एपिसेंटर, तो वो लोग पूछते थे कि ये चीज चल रहा है, क्या है, हमें मतलब उनको ये तक नहीं पता था कि उनको जाना है कि नहीं जाना है। ये एक बहुत बड़ा सवाल था। तो शुरू में उनके अंदर वो समझ ही नहीं थी कि ये क्या है। धीरे धीरे चीजों को, तो एक बहुत ही अच्छे तरह का एक पॉलिटिसाइजेशन हुआ। शाहीन बाग एक्सेप्शन था, वहां के इर्द गिर्द के लोग, एक अलग माहौल वहां लोगों को मतलब बहुत अलग था। मगर बाकी जो लोग थे, बाकी जगहों में बहुत से लोग कभी गए भी नहीं उस साइट्स पे जहां भी प्रोटेस्ट हो, बट उनमें एक पॉलिटिसाइजेशन हुआ। उनको एक बात समझ में आई, वो डिसएग्री। मुझे लगा पहली बार मैंने अपने माँ को देखा कि वो किसी पॉलिटिकल चीजों पे डिसएग्री कर रही थी, कि वरना वो डिसएग्रीमेंट तो राइट ही नहीं था कि आप लाइक अ वुमन विल डिसएग्री और वो एक ओपिनियन देगी, स्पेशली पॉलिटिकल थिंग में। वो बोल दिया कि वोट दे दीजिए। आई थिंक दैट इज वेरी कॉमन टू फीमेल जेंडर ऑफ दिस कंट्री,
most families, yeah, most
religion। तो वो एक चेंज था। अनफॉर्चुनेटली कोविड ने उस चेंज को बिल्कुल खत्म किया, बट हाँ अभी भी एक पोलिटिसाइजेशन है, लाइक दे हैव अ पॉलिटिकल वॉइस, वो अब न्यूज देख के या फिर बिकॉज ऑफ एवरीबॉडीज एंड इन कोविड आल्सो all this information has become very handy because of YouTube, mobile phone, everybody is having mobile phone. So I keep seeing many people, I can't imagine that they watch news on YouTube in Hindi news, and they Google it, like they scroll it, and like for example Twin Tower, that the demolition of Twin Tower, I think people, I cannot imagine they will ever watch the news they were watching. They were searching and watching on the YouTube, because YouTube also suggests you, so people realized and they watch. So I think that politicization started, and because of COVID it got break, but still some sort of politicization happened. There was a difference pre and post that protest.
ये मेरा एक तरह से आखिरी सवाल ही है निहाल इस कॉन्वर्सेशन में, कि आपकी जो किताब है वो जो पहले भी जैसे कहा कि जो मेन स्ट्रीम मीडिया का नैरेटिव है उसको चैलेंज करती है, उसमें जो दिखाया जा रहा था उसको चैलेंज करती है। और कहीं पे आप अपनी किताब में मेंशन करते हैं कि एक आपने ऐसी जगह स्पेस था जिसमें आपने लोगों को कहा कि आइए और लिखिए, जहाँ पे आप रेजिस्टेंस थ्रू आर्ट की बात कर रहे हैं। तो मैं अंत में ये जानना चाह रही थी आपसे कि एज एन ऑथर, अब आपकी पहली किताब आ गई है और उम्मीद है कि और किताबें आएंगी आपकी, कि ये राइटिंग फॉर रिवोल्यूशन जिसके बारे में हम कहते हैं, वो आज के टाइम पे कितना इम्पॉर्टेंट है ऐसे नैरेटिव्स को बाहर निकालना, जो कि अनुभव के भी नैरेटिव है, हो सकता है मेरा अपना अनुभव ना हो लेकिन मैंने अपने आसपास उसको देखा हो। हाउ इम्पॉर्टेंट फॉर यू एज एन ऑथर इज दिस आइडिया ऑफ writing about revolution like your book does, but also for revolution like so many graffiti artists and cultural activists and poetry, people who were writing poetry and so many others. So how important, आपको क्या लगता है कि कितना ज़रूरी है आज के समय में?
इसमें दो चीजें हैं जो मुझे समझ में आती हैं। जैसे आपने वर्ड यूज किया रेवोल्यूशन, तो मुझे लगता है कि कई बार हम, बहुत से लोग उस वर्ड को नहीं जानते हैं, हमने यूनिवर्सिटी में आके जाना, पर बहुत से लोग इस तरह की पेंटिंग, इस तरह की चीजें लिख रहे हैं, बता रहे हैं। फॉर एग्जांपल मेरे होम टाउन में एक ज्योग्राफी टीचर हैं जिन्होंने कुछ लड़कियों को स्पोर्ट्स खेलना सिखाया, और आज उन्होंने एक बहुत बड़ा क्लब बनाया हुआ, एकेडमी हो चुकी है। वो लड़कियां छोटे से गांव से यूएस और रशिया और इस तरह की कंट्री जाके खेलती है, कोई उनको सपोर्ट नहीं है, वो सब कुछ खुद से कर रहे हैं। अब थोड़ा सा तो आई थिंक उनको शायद वो शब्द यूज नहीं कर रहे होंगे रेवोल्यूशन है, बट मुझे जहां से दिखता है वो रेवोल्यूशन है। उनको गुस्सा आया कि यार इतना अच्छा टैलेंट है, हमें यूज करना चाहिए, तो उन्होंने यूज किया। तो इसमें दो चीजें हैं, या तो आपका एक इंटरेस्ट भी है, मेरा मतलब मैं, या फिर मैं ये मानता हूं कि मैं लिखूं क्योंकि इससे रेवोल्यूशन आएगा और रेवोल्यूशन को मैं नैरेटिव दूं और मैं इसको रिकॉर्ड करूं। ये भी एक, बहुत से लोगों का ये होगा कि मुझे रिकॉर्ड करना है। दूसरा एक ये है कि नहीं, मुझे इसलिए लिखना है कि मुझे अजीब लग रहा है, मुझे एक तरह से गुस्सा आ रहा है, और काइंड ऑफ वी कैन यूज द वर्ड कैथारसिस आल्सो, कि यार मुझे कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा, चलो मैं लिखता हूँ। तो इसमें एक जो मुझसे लोग पूछते हैं, मैं कहीं भी जाता हूँ बात करने, तो लोग मुझसे इस तरह सवाल पूछते हैं जैसे कि मैं सबका जवाब मेरे पास है। तो दरअसल मुझे ये समझ में आता है कि मैं ये कर सकता हूँ, तो मैं वो कर रहा हूँ, मतलब एक रोल है, और वही रोल मुझे वही चीज आती है। मैं लिखने के अलावा कुछ नहीं कर रहा। इनफैक्ट इस लिखने से पहले मुझे पता भी नहीं था कि मैं लिख पाऊंगा, पर मैंने खुद को रिलीव करने के लिए पोर इट आउट किया, वो आ गया निकल के, मतलब। तो आई थिंक ये एक बहुत बड़ा चीज है जो मैं हमेशा अपनी बात में बहुत सेंट्रल रखता हूँ, कि ये एक रोल है और सबका रोल इम्पोर्टेंट है। जो लोग आगे खड़े थे या फिर जो लोग पानी पिला रहे थे, उनका भी रोल उतना ही इम्पोर्टेंट है जितना मेरा है। और ये टाइम की बात है, कब किसको कब पूछा जाएगा, कब कौन सा रेफरेंस होगा। एक न्यूज शायद आप लोगों ने देखी होगी, उन दिनों इंडियन एक्सप्रेस ने किया था कि स्टूडेंट जो थे शाम में झाड़ू लगाते थे सड़कों पे, और सारी सड़क को क्लीन किया जाता था। तो वो एक रोल है, वो सब नहीं कर सकते। मैंने देखा है, मेरे सीनियर थे जो पोस्ट डॉक स्कॉलर थे, वो उनको मैं देखता था कि वो झाड़ू लगाते थे, तो वो उनका एक रोल था। मेरा जो रोल था मैंने वो किया। ट्रैफिक मैनेजमेंट का भी एक रोल होता था उसमें, तो वो भी एक करना होता है। तो मैं हमेशा ये मानता हूँ कि सबका एक रोल है और सबको अपना रोल प्ले करना चाहिए। तो बाद में ये चीजें जब हम आई थिंक बाहर निकलते हैं, जब चीजें आ जाती हैं, तो हम उनको रेवोल्यूशन या कथारसिस, बहुत बड़े शब्द हैं वो हम दे देते हैं, पर मैं इस रोल प्ले में बहुत बिलीव करता हूँ कि मुझे एक किरदार है वो निभाना।
Certainly. That's a very good note to end also, कि हम मतलब मैं like अगर मैं आर्टिस्ट हूँ तो क्या मेरा ही रोल सबसे बड़ा है वहाँ जाके सॉलिडारिटी एक्सप्रेस करने का, या सिर्फ वहाँ जाना और वहाँ खड़े होना अपने साइलेंस के साथ, वो भी रोल जो है वो हो सकता है। तो and I think all these things that you are saying are captured in some way or the other in your book. So thank you very much for talking to us, talking to Leftward for Leftward book. And I really hope and I highly recommend that people get to read this book, and it reaches out to as many people. I think it's a kind of a starting point for students specifically who are just about, or who are kind of finding themselves in a certain position and trying to take positions in their universities, colleges, also within their families. So I think in that context, this book is also extremely important. So thank you very much, and thanks Leftward for organizing this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for having me here.
Thank you, Komita, for this wonderful interview. And thank you, Nehal, for writing this extremely personal and evocative and courageous book. It's been an honor for us to work with you. And for those of you who would like to read the book, you can order it online on our website, www.mayday.leftword.com. And alternatively, for those of you who are in Delhi and who'd like to visit our bookstore, we'd love for you to do that too. So see you, and thank you very much.